Isn't it going live? Ah, we're live on the community. All right, YouTube, what's up, guys? So we're live streaming with the Instagrammers tonight. I'm crossing audiences. Streams are crossing sexualities. No, we're not. But just gotta say what's up to both of y'all. I can literally see both of myself. So it's gonna be typical shit. Just giving y'all the same update I gave Instagram. You guys can ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. Do whatever the fuck y'all want. I'm free to answer. I'm also gonna go ahead and start ranting. If I'm ranting, feel free to ask a question right in the middle of it. It doesn't matter. All right. I don't know if many people are gonna tune in tonight, but like, fuck it. I thought I was gonna die. All right. So, what do we want to talk about, guys? What do we want to talk about? Shit. I can't remember. But I mean, not that I can't remember. I just don't know. Any YouTubers coming in? Nope. Any Instagrammers? 0-0 on both audiences. This is unfortunate. All right. Well, fuck it. I'll just go right on the topic. I'm gonna talk about. So similar to the YouTubers just on my live stream last time, we're gonna talk a little bit about emotions because I've been for those who know, I've been on that extreme confusion state of mind. And it was about that time that I just sort of didn't know where to go. A lot of y'all remember I was like self-debating myself, trying to figure out like, hey, what do I do? What do I think? La da 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 da. Trying to just figure it out. And I came back to a message that I heard very long ago. Tony Robbins was not the first person to tell me this. It was actually it was actually somebody else who told me it first. I apologize for that. It was Teal Swan, for those of y'all who know who that is. At a time in my life where I was very emotionally distraught over a certain someone. I looked up her videos because I was looking up like I'm not gonna get too much into depth. But basically, I was looking up how to cure like emptiness and whatnot, feeling of being empty and whatever, and just missing someone hardcore. And I got led into this video called healing the emotional body and whatnot. 1-1. All right, good. We got audience. We got viewers from both sides. And I started to like. Yeah, I remember she was saying something basically like that our emotions are the core of our experience. And without our emotions, the emotions we have is what allows life to feel real. Without emotions, nothing about our lives would seem real. And something that correlated very strongly to that today was what Tony Robbins said. For my YouTubers, you guys probably definitely know who Tony Robbins is. If you don't, that's fine. You don't really need to know who he is for this, but I definitely recommend checking his shit out after the stream if you haven't. I mean, if you don't know who he is, because he's very incredible guy. He basically said today, the most powerful thing on earth is human emotion. And basically that your emotions are your life. So there's a correlation. Emotion and life go hand in hand. The experience of energy is what allows us to be fulfilled with life. I guess this actually kind of goes back to what Teal Swan was saying a long time ago when she did this video called the modern split in women, and she was saying how she wanted a man to take life through her. Right? She wanted life to go through her, and I guess what she was saying is that she wanted to be able to allow the energy that she experiences day in and day out. She wants a person who can provide a space for that energy to flow. Because let's be real, we can't always be emotional. We can't, we know that as people every day. We cannot be emotional every single second, every single day. But it feels really good when you can just be emotionally vulnerable with somebody, or when you can allow yourself to experience your feelings at its most intense. It does feel good. It's almost kind of like, I guess, sort of the reason why I became so embraceful in my emotion because I just became uh, so in love with the way I felt at times, I guess, in a sense. Like I really enjoyed being able to experience my emotions fully and not have to think that I had to pull myself back from that. And I guess that's what Teal was kind of saying. You know, she wanted a man that could provide that space for her that would allow her to be able to submit energetically to him, you know? So I think that was very you know, well not to him, but to allow that safe space to happen where she could allow herself to emotionally flow. So I kind of that maybe which would make even more sense that when you know women, I guess stereotypically being considered the more emotional side of things, um, why that would make sense that a woman wants to allow. I'm not saying that this is a fact. This is just something that I'm just kind of like putting out there. Um, that a woman uh, wants to emotionally experience, and when she can get to a place where a man or someone can provide her with that safe space, she can let life flow through her. Energy, emotion. Pretty interesting, right? Kind of off topic though. Because one of the real reasons I wanted to attack this conversation tonight is because there's a lot of I've seen a lot of videos lately, and I think I've got this shit figured out a little bit now. And I'm probably gonna keep attacking this until I can fucking slam this topic into the ground like a motherfucking beast. Now, keep in mind, this is purely opinion. This is purely based off of my experience. So I don't want to impose anything upon anybody as if it's science or fact. You know, this is opinion and experience. That's what I'm speaking from. Want to talk facts? I got a computer. I'll look up some sources and statistics. Maybe we can have some good conversation on that. I value emotions hardcore. I value the experience of life. Without being, we are emotional beings, and without allowing ourselves to experience life from an emotional standpoint, I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I don't care who you are. I don't expect you to be emotional 24/7. But I don't expect you as a man to have this idea that you need to be stoic and not feel, okay? And I'm going to explain my opinion on this, okay? Because again, you got to do what's resourceful for you. If being stoic is what you need to do, is what if you believe that is the most resourceful thing for yourself to become, then do it. You know, if you think that emotion holds you back, and in order to get to where you need to go, you need to become stoic, then by all means, cool, go do that. But I want to talk to the people that kind of got this a little twisted because, and in any, and maybe I still maybe I got this twisted, right? I see where everyone comes from when they talk about. I see where so I'm specifically talking to the red pill movement. Specifically those who have said statements such as, you know, emotions are uh, a sign of feminization or whatever, right? So along the lines of feeling is feminine. Anything along those lines. Having emotions is feminine. Okay. Um, but before I get to that, actually, let me scale back a bit. I'm a firm believer that the emotions we experience day in and day out, the energies, if we, you know, let's actually start with this. Let's actually really start with this. Sorry, I keep kind of scaling back and back. I'm jumping the gun too far ahead. That's why I need to take a step back to really solidify this. What is an emotion? I'm gonna look. Do I, where's the dictionary? Where's the source? Well, if anyone wants to define emotion for me, go ahead. But this is how I define emotion. Emotion is an energy experience within the body. And when I say the body, I don't mean just like, you know, everything below the neck. I mean, the things you experience in your head as well as a result. Okay. Like for example, like whenever you get anxious, you get butterflies in your stomach, but you're also thinking a lot. The experience of an energy. Okay. Um, so yeah. Emotion is energy. Emotion is an energy that we can experience. Sadness, anxiousness, depression, happiness, love, all these things are basic things that we feel in and out every day. Emotions are the core to our experience in life. When you start fucking with that, you start fucking with your quality of life. You start fucking with your experience of life. Okay? So that's where our baseline is. If anyone wants to find it and kind of meet me or not meet me or disagree, feel free to go ahead. We can have a conversation about that if you feel necessary to. But that's where I'm going to define the baseline at. Emotion is an energy that we can experience. Um, okay, and we already know what emotion, sadness, anger. I feel a lot of people mix it up, thinking that emotions are just these flurries of episodic tantrums or something. Or emotion becomes very looked down upon. But I like to come from a very neutral position because I don't think anything is inherently positive or inherently negative. I think everything's got its side, right? It's just one more so maybe to the other than one maybe more so than the other, right? But it's all there. Um, but what was I saying? So yeah, now that we've established that baseline, where do we go from there? The reason I believe emotion is so important, the reason why I am against the idea, why I'm not really with the idea, why I disagree, in what, in my opinion, in my experience, why I disagree with the idea that men have to be stoic, that feeling and being emotional is a sign of feminization, that because you're emotional means you think and act like a woman if you're a man. Um, the idea that experiencing energy is is beta, I just can't follow. I just can't. I understand where you're getting the idea, but by refusing the energy, there's so much I could go into here. Now it'll probably take me the whole fucking live stream tonight to get it if I don't get other questions, depending on how long it takes me to cover this, right? The idea that that is feminine and weak as a result, that it is beta male behavior, I just can't get down with that. I just don't see it. I don't agree. I just don't agree. That's what I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna give my opinion on why. Um like I said earlier, emotion is energy. Emotion is what we can experience day in and day out, right? Right now, I feel fucking great. I am in an emotional state. What's up, Tyler Rothman? I am in an emotional position right now. I am experiencing an energy. It may not be that intense, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized. I feel ready to go. That's emotion. Okay? I experience a lot of fucking emotions day in and day out. Sometimes, and I experience different intensities, different levels, and such and whatnot. Right? So the idea that we got to shut this down, not really fun. So where was I going with that? I hate using and whatnot. Uh, right? So, like I said, with my baseline that earlier, that I'm feeling good right now. That is an energy I am experiencing. Now, leading this further, emotion can take all sorts of intensities and levels. And like Teal Swan was saying, like I said earlier in the stream, the emotions that you experience without emotions, your life would not seem real. Okay, I don't mean to repeat myself too much, but I'm just using the previous points to emphasize what I'm saying here. What I want to say is this: we are all going to experience energy. The emotions we feel are very related to how our lives are. If our emotions are in a good, happy, positive vibing place, then our lives are in a positive vibing place. If our emotions are in a dark, negative space, we are going to experience dark and negative emotions. And if you become stoic, then you're not going to, then you're going to take away the feelings associated with joy, happiness, and love. And if you want to do that, fine, go ahead. I believe the reason most people want to be stoic is because they want to get rid of the things that they don't want to experience, which is sadness, which is anger, which is fear, anxiety. The reason why they don't want to experience it is because they're afraid of it, or something there is something that they don't want to associate themselves with that. And if there's one thing I've learned in life, if there's one thing I've learned, especially in the past couple years, is that contrast it fucking exists. You cannot have one without the other, right? If you're going to allow like I'm saying, if you're going to allow yourself to open yourself to the flow of emotion, you will experience some of the greatest joy and greatest when I became much more embracing about my emotions, my life instantly enhanced. Why? Because I had a better relationship with my emotions and I was able to achieve such intense vibrational frequencies with them, such intense levels of energy. But also with that came an intense level of anxiety, an intense level of fear when it showed up, an intense level of certain things when they showed up. That is the price that is there. But the thing I learned is that you got to be embracing of the whole spectrum, or you can't. You you have to embrace the whole thing, negative and positive. Okay, so for those that what I feel is that those who want to be stoic are not integrating with themselves. They're not integrating with the energy of life. They're cutting themselves off from the energy of life. I believe, in my opinion, if you start cutting yourself off from emotion, the energy you cut yourself off from that daily energy, you are cutting yourself off from the daily flow of life. That is my sincere belief. Straight up, straight up. I'm getting ready to watch it. Ooh, we got my boy Negro Citizen in the building over on Instagram. Woo! Um, but the moment you start cutting when you start cutting off your emotion, you're cutting yourself off from the flow of life. And that's fine if that's what you need to do in order to achieve what you got to do. Okay. That's just personally not what I would need to do. I can experience fear and still get shit done. And as a matter of fact, fear, like I've talked about this many times in videos, fear is a driver for me. When I experience fear, like I said, that's my green light. That's my go, right? A lot of people can't a lot of so there are a lot of people out there who believe that because they have fear, they can't do it. And I believe that what an option that people are choosing to go by is that we got to embrace stoicism, and so that way we don't experience fear, so that we can go after it. Listen, I've experienced stoicism in my life, and for some people it may work. For me, I fucking hate it. I do. I have an ability if I try really hard, because I pulled it off before. You I have been able to cut off myself from the flow of emotion, and it sucks. I mean, it fucking sucks. I mean, I've talked about this before plenty of time on my Instagram followers. You another reason why I'm so embracing of my emotions is because I know what it's like to not have any. It sucks. I would rather go home crying every single day over a miserable life than to not feel shit at all. Because I'll tell you this, it's fun, it's awesome when you don't get to feel sad and angry and whatnot, but it sucks when the things that are supposed to make you excited and happy don't. My opinion, my experience, of course. So, with how I'm flowing about this, I'm kind of just sharing my experience with emotion right now. Your emotions, the energy you experience. If you are a man, or if you're a boy, if you're a young male, and you've seen people tell you, if you've had people tell you that you need to cut off your emotions because it's feminine, because it was given to you by your mom, because it's weak, because it's whatever it is. I'm going to tell you this. You need to you need to determine for yourself what it really is to have this emotion. I believe a lot of our emotions are caused by trauma. Absolutely. Okay, I believe a lot of fear can be instilled in us because of the household we grow up in and the parents we have. I believe a lot of emotions can be instilled upon us. Emotional trauma can occur within us because of what was in the household. So I agree with stuff like that where, we inhibit things from our mom, like, we become very angry because of whatever went on in the household that we got from our parents. Yes, I believe in that. Um, However, and I believe a lot of the emotion that you experience will link back to that. And um, for example, one thing I've always had is I get very anxious around big guys. Maybe this is just common for people, but one thing I've noticed is like whenever there's a big male, not just any big male, but a big male who's got leadership, who struts himself with confidence. That always kind of made me feel anxious. It always naturally did. Um, it always kind of because it was very linked to the type of figure my father was, and I was very as at a young age. I became intimidated of my father almost in a sense, right? There was talk. I feared my father at a young age. Um, so there's things like that that I agree with because I've experienced that. I definitely see where we inherit emotions and stuff like that, and that we get things like that. And even like my dad's anger, like I get that. Like me and him, it's the same type of fucking anger, dude. It really is. So, I definitely feel like I've taken a lot from my parents. I don't think that's because and to say that because he experiences anger and what actually I'll get to that. But point being, I agree with the idea. I agree there that we inherit. I mean, yeah, we inherit emotions from our parents and predecessors like that and whatnot, right? I believe in that. What I don't believe though is that we need to get rid of that. That's the only thing causing us emotion. That they're responsible for us being emotional. I think conclusions like that put the blame on someone else, one, and two, it's a lack of responsibility. If you cannot own your own emotion, then you cannot own your own fucking life. Just can't. I'm a big believer that even in your emotional states, even in the trauma that you have, you've got to be willing to embrace it as your own. Yes, it is not your fault that it happened, but it is yours. And you gotta do it. You gotta take responsibility and actions on that. Okay. So moving ahead of it, where do I want to go with this? What direction do I want to hit? What pitch do I want to hit? Fastball, curveball. What do I want to do? Let me think about this. Hold on. Okay. So I'll say this. I'm an emotional guy. I know men who are very emotional. I know men who just don't show emotion at all. Um, we all experience emotion one way or another. We all are emotional. It just depends to what degree. Some of us show it. Some of us don't. Some of us are very stoic. Some of us are. Some of us have achieved that. And some of us are really holding to that. That's fine. I want to say this. What we've experienced, what we we all experience we all experience energy one way or another. Anger, frustration, sadness, happiness, love. We experience it all. If you are going to put a actually, we'll get to that later because this is going to be very interesting. I'm trying not to go too many places at once. That's why I'm really trying to take my time with this. I'm sorry I'm talking slow, but I just don't want to like start splitting all over the place. Um, we all experience we all experience energy one way or another. We are all emotional. We are emotional beings for the most part. We have an ability to restrict ourselves from that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you want to, if that is your desire, go right on ahead. But if you're confused, if you don't really know why you want to become stoic and whatnot, okay? If you believe that stoicism is necessary to be a man, I'm going to tell you it's not. I don't believe that it is. I don't. Because men experience emotions just as much as women do. The degree to which someone will experience emotion is down to how restricted they've become or how sensitive they are. I'm just a very sensitive fucking person. I don't believe that means that I'm a beta male or feminine. Because the reason I say that is the reason I say that I don't believe that is beta male because our lives are experienced through emotion. So, and my sensitivity to my emotions is my sensitivity to life. Does that sort of make sense? I'm the ability I have to allow myself to be vulnerable for my emotion, the way that I can allow myself to become open and very experiencing of the energies that occur within me has brought me closer to life than ever, has allowed me to appreciate life more than ever. I just don't see why that's a feminine thing. The fears that I've experienced, the emotional intelligence I've gathered, right? Like I was saying earlier, how fear is a green light for me. Because of my sensitivity to fear, I have a very strong ability to know when to go for something and when not to. Because of my sensitivity to anxiety and the stories that I've told myself about these emotions, when anxiety surfaces, when fear surfaces, whenever this happens, and how I choose to approach that is very heavily, uh, is all contributed to my ability to be sensitive. And it's allowed me to accomplish a lot. My sensitivity to fear has guided me to doing some of the greatest things ever. My sensitivity to anxiety has guided me to doing things that would make me a stronger version of myself. Yeah. So so far, it's worked out for me. Allowing myself to experience the flow of emotion has worked. Kind of feel like I'm getting messy with my argument. So let me go to where I really want to go. I'm not going to name names, just because this isn't meant to call anybody out. This is simply just to discuss. I saw I saw this video a long time ago. Is it okay to and basically it was this guy, and he sort of trolls people in debates, and I find him really funny. But I can tell he sincerely believes in what he says when he says some of these things. And one of the things he says is that, do you have anger? Well, that's not good. You shouldn't have anger. You shouldn't have you shouldn't be sad. You shouldn't be emotional, right? Because it's very woman-like. A man has to be strong in the household and whatnot. Now, if that's what's worked for you in your household, then by all means continue to fucking do it. I don't expect you to change that. Um, But to those who may have heard that message and thought, well, that's just not true, then I'm going to give you something here. Okay. Um, if you're going to claim that having rage is bad, that having anger, that having sadness, that having these sort of emotions is bad, then you better be able to say that having happiness is bad, that falling in love is bad, that experiencing pleasure is bad, that the feeling that you have when you have sex with someone is bad. You better be able to claim that the positive emotions on this other fucking side of the deal are just as bad as the bad emotions you don't want everyone else to experience. And the reason I say that is because if you're going to claim that someone being emotional is a weak thing, then fulfillment, happiness, joy, excitement, all that shit needs to go out the fucking drain the same way that you put anger, frustration, and all that down. And I'm not trying to uplift those things like we do need them. But what I'm trying to say is you cannot dismiss the negative things and the negative emotions in our fucking lives. You can't just say, this isn't good to experience. I don't want to experience it. And then throw it in a fucking trash bin and then say, I just want to experience this shit. The problem is you guys only want to live in the fucking light, but no one wants to see the darkness. Everybody wants to live light. Everyone wants to live in the light. Everyone wants to live in the good times. They only want to experience the good shit. Nobody wants to be in the darkness. No one wants to face their fucking darkness. You know how people want to face their darkness? By just pretending it's not there and getting rid of it. By justifying it that somebody else gave them that fucking darkness. That somebody else fed them this sort of that somebody else instilled this sort of thing in their head. No one wants to take responsibility for the fact that their darkness is a direct message to them about their fucking lives. Nobody wants to accept that they are sad because there's some sort of imbalance in their life, not because they're sensitive and have that some sort of anger that their mom gave them at 2 years old. No one wants to accept the fact that, hey, maybe I need to start reflecting upon my life. It's good to reflect upon your life. And if your trauma links you back to your fucking childhood, then yes, great. Pay attention and resolve it. But don't be so quick to just assume that because you have emotion that's linked to that somebody else gave it to you, that experiencing this energy is bad. One of the worst things, I don't like the idea that telling somebody that experiencing life is a bad fucking thing. Because when they do experience bad emotions, when they do experience anxiety, fear, depression, sadness, anger, these sort of things, instead of deciding to go into that and saying, okay, what can I do? Why am I angry? Instead of learning to console themselves and start to sit and face that energy, we're justified with we're men, we shouldn't feel this is bad, this is our mother acting up in us. We place it and project it as something else. And we do it because we don't want to face what's actually fucking there. Because you don't want to listen to the energy. Your emotions are related to your life. If you are not emotionally right, your life will not be right. You may have a good life, but it won't feel all that great. I'm telling you, man, you have not lived intense happiness until you've allowed yourself to experience sensitivity. Straight up. Straight up. I say this to people, not as a way to brag, but I say this as a way of honesty. I don't think there's. I really think I've experienced some of the some fucking highs that a lot of teenagers will not get, like even people in their 20s will not get to experience because they cannot face their emotions because they're too busy drinking it off, they're too busy smoking it away, eating it away, and now we have a new one, shutting it away mentally. We run up to here and we're trying to solve everything here. What happened to this? What happened to this? I'm pointing at my balls. What happened to following our gut, our intuition? What happened to that? You know why you thought you were wrong about that? Is because right now you are misaligned. Somewhere, somehow, maybe, potentially. I don't want to point out that there's something wrong with somebody that you're fucked up because you said this. What I encourage you to understand is this: a negative emotion that you feel, or an emotion that you do not particularly like, is an indication that you are in a state that is misaligned from what you want or where you want to be. And it is time to pay attention to that, not to shut it down with stoicism, not to fucking escape from it by pretending it's not there, by saying that experiencing this is beta male. You pin it as something negative because you don't like it, because you don't enjoy it. So you label it as something evil, disgusting, weird, wrong. And I'm getting emotional about this. I am being emotional about this. I am being sparked. I am being passionate. I hate when people say this, by the way. It makes me want to smack the taste out of their mouth. I ain't being emotional about this. I'm just passionate. Passionate is emotional, fucker. When you are passionate, it is because there is a lot of fucking energy. There's a lot of rage right now. There's a lot of rage in me right now. I'm speaking a lot of this shit from anger because I'm very pissed off at myself for allowing myself to consume a message so fucking stupid. And I don't mean entirely stupid, but I'm really pissed off that I allowed myself to consume something like that and then believe it instead of, taking it at face value and just saying, yeah, fuck it. Because that's what women would have wanted of me. Because that's what fucking other men expect of me. Because that's what it takes in order to be this fucking societal standard fucking thing. Because what I am allowing myself to be now is technically beta. Like, come on. Some of y'all might watch this right now. So some of y'all are gonna watch this after the stream. And y'all gonna be like, yeah, you are acting like a beta. Cool. I'm fine with it. I really am. Because for as long as I've allowed myself to experience my sensitivity in and out, day in and day out, is every time that I have a negative emotion, I'm going to be able to integrate with that shit. I'm going to be able to face that shit. I can face my fucking darkness. When I'm depressed, when I'm emotional, when I'm in a dark space, when I'm and misaligned with my emotion, I'm going to be able to point that shit out. I'm going to be able to detect it, pinpoint, and fucking solve that shit. And then get back to where the fuck I need to get to. Instead of justifying it as my mom gave it to me. My mom put it in me. And I tried to avoid going into this state, being so aggressive. But right now, and I'm very aware that a lot of this anger is just my frustration with myself and with the people who have delivered this message. Um, because I know deep down that sensitivity is strength. And I allowed myself to switch that the other way and believe sensitivity is beta and weak. Um, you know, that's just what it was. And I'm fucking pissed off about it. It's not weak to feel emotion. It's not weak to be passionate. Let me tell you something. You meet any fucking passionate speaker that's got as much passion as I do when I come up on this motherfucker, he better not be talking about he ain't no emotional. He doesn't. Let me tell you something. Stoicism doesn't sound like this. Emotion drives so much of what we do. It is so much of what we fucking experience. what we experience in life, what we have, the beauty and I heard this statement, and some of y'all know I love Elliot Host. I really do. But for him, when he said this, I I sort of got what he was saying, and he was on the right track with some of this. But some of this other was just stupid, in my opinion. He was saying that something that love isn't emotional. Like love shouldn't be emotional. Like something shit like that. What country do you habitat? United States. Live in Louisiana, southern regions. Hopefully, I said that right. I never say it. Southern. Um, but he was saying like sex is emotional, and you have to be able to separate sex from the relationship in order to really love somebody. And I agree with that. I do agree. I do think that while sex is an extreme component, it's a very good, I think it's very important to be able to discern whether sex drives the relationships or whether it supplements it, right? Because a lot of people are still in relationships just because they fuck good, right? Just because the sex is real good. I have problems with separating sex in my relationship. Yeah, it's like I agree that personally it's me, but then again, I I've only restart your rant. Basically, so I'll give you just sort of the short summed up version. We're talking about is basically is men feeling emotion um feminine? Is it feminization for a man to feel emotion? I'm stating my opinion on why I disagree with this. Um so we were talking about, by the way, big thank you to everybody who's coming out to the stream right now. Much appreciated, especially both sides. I really appreciate you guys coming out to watch tonight. It means a lot. Hopefully I'm delivering some good value to you. If not, maybe just some awesome entertainment. Um Bright, I like the idea. I've only had sexual interactions with 3 women, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, which is totally fine. In that sense that maybe that's what you think. Um but I understand this. Love is deeper than sex. Love is deeper than sex. I don't think that sex should solely drive a relationship. So I think that ability to know that I can love my partner without having to fuck her is pretty damn accomplishing, right? Now, help, please. Um, Everyone keeps telling me she's too young. Ice Swallow. No, I've never heard of that book franchise. Never heard of it. But I guess um, yeah. That's actually this is my movie shelf right here. My bookshelf is here. I need to start reading again. Emotions are a woman's domain. Okay. Um. So I agree that sex should be separated, but I just don't. Okay. So, but he was sort of kind of expressing the idea. I wish I could pull up the video, but I got both things streaming right now, so I can't like take them away from each other. But is basically saying that when who's that behind you? Probably my mother or something. She probably like walked past. Bro, my speakers are so big. All right, wait, hold on. Focus. Ugh! That's cool. Y'all can keep commenting. I just got to get my mind right. Right. So with that said, you know, it's very important to be able to love your partner without the sex. But that's not. But basically, he was kind of hinting at the idea that if you love in that love that sex is emotional, right? And if you have sex and make an emotional and make that relationship emotional, it's bad. It's feminized. It's not good, right? I just don't agree with that. And I don't think that you have to have sex in order to be emotionally attached to a woman. He was also saying that, that sex is what makes us emotionally attached to a woman. I've never had sex with my family members. Does that make me emotionally attached? Should I not be emotionally attached to them or am I emotionally attached to them? Sure, it's a different dynamic that they're family, but love is an emotional thing. Now, there are different levels of how that emotion can manifest. There's need behaviors where it's like, oh no, like you don't go away, stay with me. Yeah, maybe you need to put that in check. But for someone to tell me, right, and all love and respect to Elliot Halls, but it's just, there's things that we're gonna disagree on. Who cares, bro? We're gonna be dead in like max 60 years. Um, right. The the idea that the emotion is uh is wrong for us to is wrong for us to experience, that we shouldn't be emotionally attached to our women. I just I don't see how that's going to be the case. I don't need to have sex in order to be emotionally invested in somebody. If I spend enough time and we have close enough of a bond together and we fall in love, an emotional attachment is going to form out of that. Now, he was talking about something about conscious love, and I love my woman more now than ever because I'm conscious. I totally see what Elliot's saying about that, and that I know what that is, and I know, and there's sort of some things I can't fully express it, but what was I saying? That conscious love, right? Because I know what it is. There's the passion that drives us, but there's also that part of us that where we do or won't do something because of our commitment or um our love, our desire, and whatnot, right? Or fuck, I lost it. Shit. Um, right, where we will decide to do something or not do something because that is because of the commitment that we have made, because of the relationship that we are in, right? I will, like, for example, I will decide to do something for my sister because it would be kind for her. I do that out of consciousness, right? It is a conscious thing I want to do for her, right? So that's just like a small example of what he was talking about. But besides that point, to say that love, that having sex is what makes emotional, is what makes a relationship emotional. No, I disagree. A relationship can become emotional way before sex. I totally would, you know. Um, and love is that powerful experience of emotions that are going to go through us that we experience with our partner. If we weren't emotionally invested in our partners, why would we be with them? If we weren't emotionally invested in our family, why would we care about them? If I wasn't emotionally invested in my craft, why would I do it? If I didn't feel compelled, energized, moved by energy to want to do something or to care about something, there would never be a reason to at all. There would never be a reason to. And that is why this is the big point I'm trying to kind of put across, is that the thing that we experience, the energies that we experience day in and day out, has nothing to do with whether you're man or woman. Has nothing to do with it. Because let me tell you something. I have 3 wives. 2 of them are my daughters. That's bad. Is that bad? I'll get to that in a second. um, save that question. I'm gonna talk about some of this, but let me finish. Yeah, let me kind of get to my conclusion on this. Um, the energies we experience day in and day out. I don't think it does not have to do with whether we are men or women. All humans experience emotion, some more so than others, depending on the degree of sensitivity that we allow or have been raised to allow ourselves to experience. Yes, I believe that we do inherit trauma and traits from our parents. Absolutely. Let me end the stream real quick. I'm going to get back to you guys in a second. Gotta continue the Instagram live stream. Right? So the emotions that we experience by our people, right? The energy, pain, adrenaline, fear, happiness, love, anxiety, all this shit, it's here. And it's here for us to experience. And having these experiences is what makes life so fucking worth. It really does. But some of y'all may not agree, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't expect everyone to be as embracing of emotion like that. That's okay. Whatever works for you, because that's really what this is. Like whatever fucking works for you at the end of the day. If you believe stoicism is what is best for your soul, then fucking do that. If you believe that sensitivity is what is your strength, then let that be, right? That's really, really all this is. I just want to share with people that if you do not think, if you do not feel that it is necessary, I mean, that if you feel a little lost on how you want to approach the stoicism, if it has been offered to you, or sensitivity, whatever path you want to choose, what is going to be best for you and your personality? That's it. And I just want to assure people out there, this is not a fucking gender thing. Life and the quality of our life is based, it is stemmed, it comes from the emotions we experience. It comes from the life that oh my god, hold on. Restarting that point. Boom. It's not a fucking gender thing. Or fuck. No, I got this. I got this. I got this. Ah, misdirected energy. Fuck. Now I feel dumb. Um, hold on. Ah, I think I got it. Um, the emotions we experience day in and day out. The quality of our lives. There we fucking go. The quality of our lives is measured by the quality of our emotions. And if we are connected with our emotions, if we are in love, if we embrace the emotions we have and develop a good, loving relationship with our emotions, we will develop a good, loving relationship with the friends. I mean, with the life that we have. Straight up. Straight up. The energy that we experience is an indication, it is a message, it is a way to align ourselves with where we are, with who we are, with what we are in our lives. If we are happy and we are in a positive vibrational space with our lives, then we know we're on the right path. And if we're in a negative space of energy, then we've got to make that we've got to take on that responsibility of facing it, of taking it on and making something happen, with making the active change, with progressively working toward it. How can we align? What are we not aligned with? What is misaligned? What is causing this anger? Where is this anger coming from? Get deep, get real with yourself, and start facing your emotional darkness. I encourage you, if you know within yourself, and you may not be willing to admit it now if it is, but if you are avoiding your emotional pain by alcohol, by beer, by alcohol, by drugs, by stoicism, whatever tactic you are, with spirituality, whatever the fuck you're trying to do, I want you to stop. And I want you to fucking pulsate on your anger when you're alone. When it's the time and place, go to your room, and whatever it is that's been fucking bothering you, whatever it is that's been disappointing you, soul sucking you, making you feel weak, whatever it is that's been there, I want you to start focusing on. I want you to take time to integrate with that. Get close to it. Get real with it. And allow yourself to move with it. Learn. You will be surprised what awareness you can build by facing your emotional darkness. Straight up. You will find a beautiful peace. I don't mean to sound poetic or try. I'm not trying to be. I don't mean to intentionally sound poetic here, but when you start to integrate with your emotions, you're gonna find that solving problems becomes a little easier. You're gonna find that because of your emotional awareness, you're able to confront your issues a lot better. You're able to get a lot closer to yourself. And you're going to find that you have a better relationship with yourself because you're now confronting yourself, your life, your energies head on. You're no longer swaggling around with some bullshit. You're getting to the fucking root of it. Emotions are not feminine. They're not purely feminine. They are a human thing. They are a life experiencing thing. Okay. There's a time and place where emotions need to be put in check and put to the side, and we got to do what we got to do. But there's a time and place for that. Well, we got to put our emotions to the side and we got to do what we got to do. But there's also a time and place for that sensitivity to fucking flow. I I'm driven by, like I said early in the stream, with fear, with anxiety and whatnot. When those things come up within me, there are some people who will claim that is a feminine thing. That is something they got from their mamas or whatnot. Not me. When I have fear and anxiety, that shit fucking charges me. Because of my sensitivity and my awareness and my relationship to fear and anxiety, I can act with it. I can move with it. So that's my conclusion with emotions. That's my conclusion as far as what's going on as far as this this debate, this idea that we as men need to get rid of our emotions. I say you got to do what works best for you and do what feels right for you, but you really got to focus on. I don't think it is a necessity for you to become stoic. I think it is a great way to um, what was I going to say? Shit. Um, oh, right. But yeah, man, just living, feeling, being free. Really, at the end of the day, is do what the fuck you want, but don't think stoicism is necessary in order to become a man. Sensitivity can get you there just as well. So that's my conclusion on that. Um, I don't think I'm gonna get any legit questions because all I'm seeing is ridiculous comments here. on YouTube, and I don't have anyone watching on Instagram right now. So I'm gonna give about a 1 minute, 1 minute, and an hour and 1 minute. I'll go ahead and end the stream if I don't get any like legit questions. We'll see what happens. I don't even know if I want to answer that. See if we get another question. If I don't, then I'll answer it because I think it's ridiculous. Low key. Um, all right, I got two questions. I'll take a look at these. All right. So the first one I can answer is pretty quick. So Instagram, sorry that you guys got to hear this. It says, "What's your opinion on black people?" I mean, what's an opinion to have about a black person as opposed to a white person? Look, just to clear this out of the air. I've got some pretty conservative beliefs. I'm not full right wing, but I agree with a lot of what conservatives say as opposed to the liberals. With that said, though, I don't think it really fucking matters. Like, as far as a black person as opposed to a white person. Look, I've said this a million times. It's not the skin pigment. It's really not. It's morality. It's morality. Now, I can say this: there's uh, there's definitely what you call it. There are things that go on as far as the communities that in black communities that I would like to see that I would like to see improve. Not that there's anything going on in black communities that aren't happening in the other communities, obviously. Um, but if you're gonna point out black people in specific, there's anything I can say about a black person, I can say about any other race for the most part. You know, almost everything. So my opinion on them, uh, the skin didn't really mean much to me. But if you want to talk about character, that's really all it comes down to me with. And I hate to kind of come off with that sort of cliche talk. I don't see color. I never actively see color, dude. I don't actively seek out friends and family and whatnot through color. That's not how I roll. It's never how I really roll, you know. So I see color. It just doesn't really matter. So I mean, I can be prejudiced towards other races at times, or there could be certain people from certain races that if I run into them, if I meet them, yeah, I'm gonna be a little probably guard up with them as opposed to some others, just based off of the experiences that I've had with them. Is what it is. So okay, there was another question I had. Uh, so that's my opinion on black people. That skin doesn't matter to me. It's character. Uh, is Trump the number one person in the USA? No, no. Um, he ain't the worst. He ain't the worst. I think the debate with Trump is kind of ridiculous. I think people blow him out of proportion. You know, people might hate me for this one, but I think Trump's a pretty fucking honest guy, and I think that's why a lot of people hate him straight up. Uh, I think a lot, I don't think I don't think he's the number one person in the USA. I don't think he's the greatest thing to ever go into office. I really don't. I don't think he's the great white hope. But I will say, I love the response he's kind of bought out, bought out of America. Okay, wait, he's asking this question a lot. How high can you jump? Highest I've ever jumped in my life was a 27-inch vertical. Best box jump I've ever pulled off would probably be, I want to say, a 42. Yeah, I don't jump too often, so my stats aren't all that well. Okay. But yeah, as far as Trump, man, look, I don't like I said in the past, I don't pay attention to the guy at all. I really don't. I really don't. Um, so as far as what he politically does, but I will say this: what I've some of the things I have heard, shit's pretty fucking legit. Like when I heard about the tax plan, I was like, pretty fucking legit. The wall, I'm not gonna lie, I agree with. I think we need some border security on some high level, whether it's a wall or not. Hey, just curious, what is my channel about? My channel is about inspiring people to become the strongest versions of themselves and experience life to the best of their abilities. Um, so that's sort of where I lie on with Trump, man. I think the dude isn't horrible. And, this whole xenophobic thing everyone's making him out to be, I think is sort of blown out of proportion. I haven't really seen much that has, I haven't seen much that really made me feel like, oh, this guy's xenophobic or anything. There's things he said, but I think that's when he goes troll mode on you guys. You know what I mean? Trump's known to get a rise out of people. But maybe I'm wrong, and I'm open to being wrong. So we want to have a debate about that. Please feel free. Um, Maybe you can prove me wrong. I'm not the best debater in the world, anyways. I just don't. I just think. I just don't think Trump is as evil and malevolent as everyone makes him out to be. Okay. Yo, this is actually a serious question. My life dream is to create kind of a camp for kids with ADHD and help them. And I'm thinking and everything, and I'm kind of stuck for a name. I'm thinking concentration camp. No. See that right there just made me feel like that question wasn't serious, but I'll take it like it is serious. Concentration camp's probably a horrible one. I just need to help them focus. This is my view on ADHD. And I'll say this. Look, I think I could be wrong. Prove you probably know more than I do. So correct me if my statistic is wrong. I think it's 95% of Americans have some form of ADHD or ADD. Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds high, but I think that's what the statistic is. It's an old statistic, but it's yeah. I don't, it's an old statistic. Maybe you got me wrong on that. I just gotta determine. But that's what I think it is. Here's my view on ADHD. I don't know too much of the science behind it, so I could totally be wrong. Totally be wrong. I talk a lot from experience, so that's how I feel. Yeah, so all Americans need to go to concentration camp. I think concentration camp is not the best idea. You start naming a camp after after a type of camp that was used to support a genocide is kind of a bit far. Again, I don't know you, so I don't know how serious you are on that as far as naming it that, but you do you. But real shit, this is how I feel about ADHD. Whether this is a troll question or not, is I wanna share this. ADHD is the attention hyper deficit disorder. This is this is kind of where I feel about it. Most kids that I meet that are ADHD, I want to start with this statement because it's on my mind. How many people have you met that where they take an ADHD pill, right? They take their medicine, they take their Ritalin, they take their Ritalin, Adderall, stuff like that, and they're just normal. They're just dead. They just dull. And then how many of you have met them when they got off their medication? Energized, crazy, happy. I mean, it's like somebody shocked life into them and they got on a sugar high. Yeah, yeah. It's fucking awesome, right? Because the fucking reality is ADHD is not an inhibitor. ADHD is classified as a disorder because it won't Because this society thrives off of kids sitting down in a classroom learning to regurgitate bullshit they don't care about. Apparently, that's fucking sick. Apparently, that's wrong. If you have ADHD, you're wrong, right? I just don't fuck with that. I just don't. I don't. This is the reality, right? When kids get off their fucking medicine, sure, they're not able to focus as much in a fucking classroom. I tell you this, man. Most kids that I've met ADHD, you put them on something that they actually fucking like, it's like their focus becomes like 10 times honed. I promise you. I have this friend. He's not in the live stream tonight. He's a musician, right? And he came to me with the same problem. He said, "Look, I got a lot of ADHD. I need to figure out how to focus in the classroom." I'm like, "You're worrying about focusing in a place where you don't even really belong." Okay, you're concerning yourself about focusing in an area where your focus doesn't really matter. You're not a class student, dude. You're not. You're a fucking musician. And he was saying this when I do music, I fucking feel I get so focused. I can be on it for hours and go. It's because ADHD is a real gift. It's a beautiful thing. When I see a kid that can run around with, where I love when I see somebody who hasn't completely killed off the child within them and expresses their freedom, their love, their desire, their passion. It's about learning where to direct that energy from. That's what I want you to focus on, Josh. If you want to really get kids on ADHD to focus, take them out of the classroom and start figuring out where that stimulation wants to go. Is there an artist in that kid? Is there an artist in that kid? Is there an athlete in that kid? Where is that kid's focus at, man? Because that lack of focus in that one area where he's just dozed and whatever, you've got to pull them back and slingshot them in the right direction. Get them to find their direction. Now I see some other points, so I want to go ahead and mess with these. Do I have anything on Instagram? No. I believe ADHD to a certain extent, but I think our lack of focus is due to our daily interaction with technology. We're constantly used to being stimulated, so it's hard for us to simply focus. I agree with this. Yeah. It's dopamine. It's dopamine. And Mike V, I see that you're here tonight. Actually, I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna get to yours next. So, lack of focus being used to technology. A lack of focus can down a lot. But yeah, technology definitely wears it down. Definitely wears it down because when you're it's that dopamine rush you get from it, right? When you're playing on your phone with your technology, there's that dopamine high that comes from it. Whenever you click in a notification, whenever you're hitting like, comment on a picture, there's a sense of pleasure associated with that, and it becomes very distracting. And in that case, you know, if that's the thing, then what needs to happen is that we need to get them off technology. I'm serious. I'm an advocate for this in anybody. I don't care how critical technology is to you and your life and what you do. Everyone needs to turn their phone off for 24 hours a month. Like, I mean, once a month. I used to do this all the time, and I'm going to start doing this again. 24 hours, you do not use your phone. I'm telling you, you will be surprised how much time. Like when I was editing the short film I just released the other day, I took my phone, right? I put it in this drawer, threw it in there, shut it, turn, and next thing you know, when I completely forgot where it was and I was just dead focused on this, I didn't touch my phone for hours on end because I needed, and or like sometimes I catch myself constantly going back to my phone, playing on Instagram. I'm like, fuck, I need to edit, yop that bitch across the room. I get it out of my way. So yes, discipline to distance yourself from technology is very important in order to focus. Um, so yeah, very big point that you bring up there. Um, you got to learn to keep. And it was I don't know if you watch Ralph Smart. I feel like you would. Ralph Smart, Infinite Waters. He said something, and this is really something we got to start really fucking getting big on. Technology needs to be our tool, not the other way around. Technology should not have our control. The moment that technology controls you is the moment that you lose is you start the moment you start to lose control of your own life. So you need to be very aware. Actually, I'm gonna probably want to put this here. So that way I'm like looking at this both times. You need I thought that started falling. You need to be able to distance yourself. So Mike V's. That's a point. But what if ADHD interferes with their work in real life after school? Um, Hold on. How do you mean on that? Like what work specifically? Like, are we talking about their craft, like their actual craft, as far as what they plan to do for a career, or like other work? Like what specific work are we discussing here? Because if we're talking their craft, that's my point. We want to direct them towards the thing that they're most passionate about. They won't lose focus on that. They lost oh this lost focus as soon as I said they won't lose focus. Right? Now, as far as other work, maybe they're doing other jobs, maybe they're going to college, whatever. Yeah, that can be a very big inhibitor. Uh Charity, you are infidel. No, you shouldn't take that as a compliment, Charity. Um don't even listen to it. I think, yeah, as far as what I think infidel means, I wouldn't take that as a compliment. But don't take it harsh. He's just a boy. No, I'm not messing. But well, fuck it. Moving on. But yeah, man, because this is how I'm feeling about this. How ADHD? Okay, I know a federal agent who's an elite corpse within his agency and loves his work. He has ADHD and he can't function well without his meds. Okay, federal agent who's an elite corpse. He loves his work. He has ADHD. Can't function well without his meds. So this might be a severe case. Squanto, you want to help me out here, King Denny Henny? We're talking about ADHD. I feel like he's always got some interesting opinions on this type of shit. So right now we're talking about ADHD, calling upon a subscriber for smell. um, how do you? So we're talking about ADHD right now. Dude wants to start a little camp. He wants to help kids. View, boom. Go live with King Henny Denny. All right, we're gonna have two people, so you're gonna hear his voice as we talk. Uh, so you'll hear him as I'm talking to you guys. Just gotta wait for him to hop in. Oh, he's about ADHD. Yeah. what the hell is ADHD? He said, "What's ADHD?" I just need like if I know what it is, I can tell you. I can tell you some stuff. Wait, you really don't know what ADHD is? Like I know that sounds so fucking contradicting. Like I don't know what it is, but I know a lot about psychology and all that. So. Okay. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So basically, like. Okay, so. All right, so there's a lot of ways you can fix that. First of all, attention is one of the most. It's got the most powerful things in the universe because your attention has to do with manifestation. Has to do with. Can y'all hear him real good? Y'all give a comment to let me know. Keep talking. Now, the hard part with ADHD is it affects the attention, right? Yeah. And once it affects the attention, that fucks up your whole life. So you gotta find ways to pay attention. There's so many simple exercises like looking outside, looking at. All right, so what you could do, you could go and look at a tree, and you could look at it. You could look at every single little detail of the tree. Do that. What'll happen is you come more into the present moment because people with ADHD. I know that sounds weird. I didn't even know what ADHD was, but people with ADHD,
That's a real tough one.
Yeah, because I was saying like
it affects attention, so you got to find ways.
Yeah.
Other than pills.
Yeah, because I mean that's just a big thing. You know, a lot of people take the meds, and I mean, for people, it helps you, get focused on like doing your craft and whatnot. Yeah. But the problem I tend to have is that I feel like it really rips people of their authenticity at that point. And I don't think people should have to go as far as to rip their authenticity just to do work. And I get it. There's a very tricky thing. I think, but like what you're saying though, bringing yourself into the present moment is probably a big detail there. Because what I was saying earlier is, finding something that really attracts your focus. Because I feel like ADHD almost,
yeah, absolutely,
it's sort of like in sort of like a spiritual, philosophical sense. It's pulling you away from the shit that doesn't really matter, and it's pushing you towards. It's trying to like almost call you towards what you're really supposed to be at.
Yeah,
I almost feel like ADHD does that for people. But we got a question here. We got this federal agent who, he loves his job and he's very enjoyable with his craft, but he doesn't have that ability to function well without those meds. So it's
and with a job like that, see, the thing is, the body finds ways to heal itself, but in order for you to do that, you got to put your attention on it. Yeah, doctors aren't going to heal you. A pill isn't going to heal you. It's just affecting everything else too. You're fucking yourself up even more at the end of the day. But there's certain, you got to get into the present moment. Like I know that I'm trying not to get into like spiritual shit, but there's physical things that you could do.
Yeah.
To bring your attention back into like what it needs to be. Like me, I'm not in the present moment 100% of the time, but I work on it every day. And since I did that, man, I don't have too many brain farts anymore. I don't have too much brain fog. It's just a matter of working on yourself. You gotta know what's going on.
I think a very interesting thing, because you were bringing this up when you were saying something about the body, it's kind of brought me back to that. Elliot Holmes used to talk about this a lot, bringing yourself back to the body. So I feel like doing something that physically stimulates you, because if you can get that physical stimulation going, oh yeah, anything that can physically get that stimulation. So he just updated me a bit on the question. He said, my federal agent's friend problem isn't attention necessarily, it's hyperactivity. So the hyperactive part of ADHD. So, so Mike V, if you're still here, could you give me a little more detail if you have more detail on that?
Hyperactivity, I used to have a problem with that. I might have had ADHD, and I remember in 5th grade, I would try to pay attention, but I would sit there in 45 minutes. I'd stare right at the teacher, and I would try, but every single word he said, even the word "and," would just go right past me. But with hyperactivity, that's a hard one, because now you got to go backwards. Because if you're fighting attention, now you got to go backwards with the hyperactivity. You got to get calm. It's still the same thing with the present moment.
Yeah.
You can't be constantly doing things. Sometimes you got to fucking sit still. You got to get down. You got to get in there.
I'm trying to think, because there was an interesting thing said. It was this dude saying, how do I dim my mental light? And then Elliot was like, start fasting. That'll dim your mental light real fast. And it interests me. It's like, if there's an overcharge of energy, if there's an energy that's constantly it's going, that leads me to believe that it's because there's a discharge that needs to happen that isn't. It's there and it's surfacing, but it hasn't quite hit its explosion.
Energy means energy in motion. So what happens when you bottle it up inside? It's got nowhere to go, so it's got to find a way to come out.
Yeah.
So you got to get that energy out in so many different ways. You got to work out. You got to eat right to get the right energy. You got a fidget spinner. You know.
Yeah.
There's so many things you could do.
Yeah. So
but it's more of a matter of finding it out yourself. You gotta learn. Knowledge is key.
Yeah.
Knowledge is key.
So
I can't tell. Like I don't know this dude. I can't tell shit about him.
Yeah.
He's got to know himself.
So yeah, I would say Mike V, man, if anything, I would encourage him to really pay attention as to without his med, he overtalks and he can't focus his mind on one thing. So kind of like a bounce around. So
yeah. Tell him to try CBD. Tell him to try weed can help with that, but I don't think it's really needed. Yeah. The thing with weed is again, it's more of a spiritual thing. But the thing is, it can make you think more. Yeah, it can make you think more. So I don't know if that would really help.
It kind of it almost feels like, yeah, it's just like it sounds like a lack of grounding more than anything.
Yeah. That's what it is. If he doesn't know how to ground himself, then he's gonna be up there.
Because that's what's allowing all this.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. Whatever he's got to do, what his core purpose should be, is to ground himself, to get to a space where that hyperactivity discharges somehow, some way, and then just gets him. He needs to experience like a tranquility almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got to get into that present moment, and once he's in there, that ADHD, whether it's hyperactivity or focus, it's not going to do too much.
Yeah.
The present moment is the most powerful thing.
Hey.
Shut the fuck up, 1400 Demarion. And I don't even know how to say your name.
People think that the meds are depressants, but they're stimulants specifically to the self-discipline centers so that the person can control his attention and hyperactivity. He's a federal agent.
Yeah. That's
but yeah.
That's why he has that job.
So yeah, I don't know I can't really speak too much on the med substances, and because I didn't even know that people considered it a depressant at all. Actually, it seems to have. Well, yeah, because it would seem.
Well, it's a depressant overall because it's affecting the body.
He says it's a stimulant. They're stimulants specifically to the self-discipline centers. And I guess in a sense I can sort of agree with that. Because, like you said, because once it hits those centers, it for some reason cocaine's coming to mind, where it just it sharpens you, I guess, in that sense. So it's a stimulation to sharpening. But yeah, I can't really.
But like you said, grounding. That's the main thing. He's got to get back.
Oh yeah.
He's got to go backwards now. I mean, technically it's forwards, but he's got to get back to that true state.
Yeah, because whatever it is that's hypercharging him.
I mean, that's the hard part. Because
yeah.
Without it, I mean, now his job's at stake.
Yeah.
Even his well-being. So that's a hard one. It's a real hard one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do. There's nothing you can do. There's so many things you can do. He's got to figure that out himself. He's got to start learning.
Yeah, because I mean, I've just never. I mean, I don't have anything so far against it. If anyone does it, it's just like I always like believe within myself. I know it can be done without the med.
Yeah.
I'm always in that mindset. Like it can be done without. Just gotta find it.
Yeah, you just gotta find out what it's like and then get used to it.
Yeah, well, it's really about working with it, you know. But I know something like this is tricky, so that's why we're kind of saying, like right now, you know, that whenever there's a hypercharge, when kids are first given it, there are a lot of problems until the right balances are found. Yeah, man. I mean, depending on what the right balance ends up being. I mean, personally, those are the people I really don't want to see have to take that are kids, man.
Yeah.
Because like when you're that young, like that's when you should be in that essence state, just moving and going, you know. Even up until like the age of like, you know, I get it, you know, like by 12 you're in like sixth grade, but you know, and that's when they want you doing the schoolwork and the regurgitation and whatnot. But it's like then by then you still got to be like having that childlike essence, and I hate to see when that shit gets cut off.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with their personal lives, what they're doing at home, what they're looking at, what they're eating.
Oh yeah, food is so big, dude. That's something that is so underrated as far as
might not be getting enough fiber. Like most parents don't know this shit.
Yeah.
Don't know anything. Like they just stick their kids in front of a TV and then send them to school, send them to jail for a little bit, come back.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, back to the ADHD. That's I mean, I can't really speak on too much of that because like usually if someone asks me about a problem they have, what I do is I look into the problem first before getting back to them. I didn't even know fucking ADHD. Because it never really occurred to me. I never really put too much thought into it.
Yeah. And I mean, plus it's extremely common in America as opposed to where you're in Canada. Yeah. So completely different type of societies in a sense.
Same thing here.
Oh yeah. I figured it'd be like slightly different like operations over there than here.
I think
since we're like so much more corporate.
Here, I feel like people wouldn't even know they had ADHD here. Some people. I don't know. It is a different country though.
Yeah.
You know a lot of people with ADHD, Ty. You know a lot of people with ADHD? He's playing
Fortnite. Oh man, the Fortnite life. I haven't played video games in so long. It's ridiculous.
What?
I haven't played a video game in so long. It's
microaggressions.
Microaggressions. Hey man, I ain't even gonna lie. I used to have some bad rage when it came to video games. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I had to uninstall and get rid of some games because of that. I'm like, this ain't good for me. This is red flag.
Like you just close the game out, uninstall, and just
be like, I can't go back to that, dude. Like it's just gonna get worse.
Usually it would just be like a mind fuck to me, and I'd keep playing.
Yeah.
Like these kids have broke how many controllers?
That's how it goes, man. I want to say at least within.
But yeah, I think one of the big things is what he does with his energy, how he uses it, and what he puts in.
Mm-hmm.
Energy has to be in motion.
Oh yeah, but too many teachers just focus on grooming and implanting students. That's what I think. Either she said or students. Message retracted. She's probably gonna retype it. Yeah, school systems bother me, man. I can agree that many. I didn't even know shit. Go on. I can agree that many use ADHD as an excuse. I mean, shoot, as Denzel Washington once said, if you look for an excuse, you'll find it.
Yeah. It's just running away. That's all an excuse is.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the main things with energy is the emotions. The emotions. Oh God, there's so much to say about that.
Oh, I literally whole rant before this stream even started. Like if you go back, if you happen to look at tonight's stream before I started this one up, I start because there, I don't know if you are familiar with what's kind of going on in Red Pill right now, whatnot. But there, like, a lot about like what they talk about maybe with like beta males and alpha males and whatnot and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I know there's a lot of people discussing.
That's a tough topic too, because like the way the world is right now, men act like bitches, bitches act like men. It's switched around, and obviously you got to find someone to love, but you can't do that. Like, I mean, you can, but so hard.
It was
so
it was so interesting to me because a lot of men, and then I started to really take this because like I'm a sensitive motherfucker, I'm very emotionally vulnerable, and
cancer.
and just there was a lot of discussion going on that as a man you shouldn't feel anger, you shouldn't feel all these emotions and whatnot, and you should be stoic. And I really started to like think, well, wow, maybe that's what a man should become. And then it started to really fuck with me on a level because it's like, because of where my emotional intelligence was at the time, I almost like retracted from that. And then when emotions came up, I just became confused and it fucked it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, why am I feeling this way? All this shit.
Yeah.
I'm about to get into a little thing with anger. So it's like this. Most of our parents, when we were kids, what did they do when we got angry? They said, "Watch your temper." They give us time out, say, "Get the fuck to the room. Don't talk back to me."
Yeah.
And as a kid, you're pure. If you cry, you're gonna cry. If you get angry, you're gonna throw a tantrum. If you're happy, you get happy at the stupidest little shit. Man, you play with toys as a kid. So now as you grow up and you get caught into that mentality of, I gotta watch my anger. I can't be angry. That's why men hit women, because they haven't grasped onto that masculine energy, that anger. They don't know what to do with it. So they switch. They automatically go to the feminine side, start yelling around, they lose their shit. Because that ain't, like I said, emotion is energy in motion. You bottle it up inside, it's gonna come out in some way.
Yeah.
Road rage.
Yes, that's a big one.
Video games. It's huge.
I noticed that anytime I catch road rage, that's how I know I have a lot of repressed anger. Anytime.
Like microaggressions. That's one of the main things. It comes out in some way. It's the same thing with even happiness. Like, you ever talk to an angry person? You're talking to an angry person, and then you say a little joke. They're sitting there just looking like this, and you say a joke or something. They crack a smile and they fucking start being angry at you again. It's the same thing. Happiness will come out in some way.
Yeah. That's
just a sign. You gotta get it out, and you gotta force it out too. And it's gotta be in a healthy way. Like what I used to do with my anger, I didn't know what the hell to do with it. So what I'd do is I'd go punch shit. Didn't matter if it hurt. That's why my knuckles are so fucked up. Look.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be straight across.
Yeah.
Like this one.
Yeah. That was one thing that really helped, man.
Last year.
Bioenergetic catharsis, man.
Yeah,
like, even
I do it all the time.
Even with the last relationship with the girl that had played me, I remember I had 5 bioenergetic sessions all in October, like once a week, and twice the last week. Yeah, no, because I was like, there was so much resentment and anger inside. I was like, I gotta get this out. Because I remember I started feeling so much tightness in my jaw day in and day out. That microaggressions we're talking about, I caught it and I knew. I was like, this is it's manifesting and it's got to come out. And yes, that was a big thing, man. Just release. And it was just so important that, and I think a lot of people miss this. I don't think it, just in my opinion, emotions, like you're saying, it's energy in motion, and energy Life is composed of that. Well, how we experience life is through those energies. And
Yeah.
I don't think whether you're a man or a woman has much it should not it doesn't come down to whether you're a man or a woman, whether you feel these emotions or not. Everyone is capable of feeling it. The degrees at which you feel it vary, based off of how you're brought up, your beliefs, how you kind of
Yeah.
carry yourself and whatnot. That may determine on how sensitive or stoic you are into certain energies and
Yeah.
whatnot. But all energy, it's gonna go and flow.
Yep, that's what makes it human. It's that yin yang, that masculine energy, and that feminine energy. You got to use them both.
Yeah.
You can't just if you're a man, you can't just be masculine all the time because no one's gonna fucking like you. But you can't be feminine all the time because you're gonna be a bitch. So you got to mix them.
Yeah.
You got to find the perfect balance.
We all got a little. We all got a little of both in us.
Yep, dude. I remember when I didn't know shit about my emotions. I was so angry that I didn't even know it. I started losing hair. That's why I got all these fucking forehead wrinkles.
Ooh.
I started getting the worst acne, and I didn't even know what was going on. And that punching didn't do anything. All
Yeah.
it did was just that temporary little
Release, but it wasn't the root.
Once I saw that I don't even know how you say it, but I just call it primal scream therapy.
I like it. I like it.
I bang it on my chest and everything.
Yeah, no, I did this. The one of the last sessions I had, I did this thing right where I was like tapping on my chest like this, and like I was like moving my legs and shaking my head, and then I remember I didn't even realize this was happening. All of a sudden, I was going faster and harder, and then faster and harder, and then all of a sudden, I just let out the loudest scream, and it literally was like as if my whole body had a mind of its own. And then it was just like, and it just took over and it just lashed for like a good 10 seconds without stopping. And then I stopped and I was just like still. And I was just like, what the fuck? that was whoa. Whoa.
The first time I did it, I remember I was hitting on myself and everything. I ended up hitting my rib, and it's still fucked up to this day. When I do sit-ups, it pops.
Oh.
I cracked my rib, and I didn't even feel it. Afterwards, I was like looking at my chest was all red, and my shoulders hurt because like they were going everywhere.
Yeah.
My throat. I didn't scream. You're supposed to scream from your stomach. I was just.
Well, that's probably where a lot of that tension was held up, was in that throat. Yeah, man. It's just God, man. Discovering that practice was one of the best things ever. And I don't know if you're familiar with Teal Swan or not, but
yeah, I just don't watch your videos.
Yeah, but she discusses a lot. She kind of got me on this like embracing the darkness of yourself and integrating with your darkness and whatnot. And I'm just so big on that with like anger, whatnot, and being unconditionally present with your emotions when you have that time. When that anger surfaces and you have that opportunity, that's the time. A lot of people say, no, you gotta like. There's so many people that are like, yeah, we gotta instantly move to this positive vibration, get rid of this negative thought.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I'm like, no, dude, like you need to go into that negative space and experience it, because through confronting that misalignment is what's going to guide you back to alignment.
Yeah, it's literally the same thing as being afraid of the dark. Once you go into the darkness, all you gotta do is stick a little candle in there. You're good.
Yeah. You just gotta you gotta face that darkness within yourself. Like if there's all this if there's this delusion of that you're gonna be in this positive space 24/7, that you're not going to experience these dark sides, and if you do, it's weak or whatever. It's like no. Whenever you are in that dark side, whenever that negative energy is hitting, that is your indication that something is off. And it's now your responsibility, because I hear a lot of people say, and I was talking about this earlier, like, both you and me, I think we fairly agree how our parents and what we can definitely inherit emotional behaviors and whatnot, and from them and
Yeah,
stuff and such. But just because we get an energy, we should not pin that on somebody manipulated or put that into us or whatnot.
yeah.
When an energy
That's one
flows
of the
to
main
us,
things.
we got to take
But
responsibility for that as part of ourselves,
yeah,
if that makes sense. Like if we have anxiety
yeah,
about a certain situation, that is our anxiety, and that is our anxiety to deal with.
yeah. Absolutely. That's one of the main things too with your parents is you live with them most of the time for 18 years. Some people can't even get out of that after they live with them for 18
Oh
years.
yeah.
Some people stay in their basement until they're fucking in their 30s. I mean, it's like what you're saying. You got to go into the dark, as above, so below. If you want to get to your higher self, you gotta know you gotta know yourself. You gotta know every single aspect.
Yes.
And that's one of the main things with attention is you gotta identify that emotion, you gotta know that emotion, and you gotta know why you're feeling that way, and you gotta get it, you gotta do something about it.
Fucking right. Yeah. You
And the
refuse.
worst thing is to put that on someone else. Like I'm in this group chat with a bunch of girls, right? And this group, she flashed her titty, and I said something about how small her nipple was. She went off. I was like, look, I don't like my feet, but I don't get mad when someone points out that they're ugly.
Yeah. No, man, I feel like that's actually a very interesting point that you brought up. How we lash when something like that is pointed out
Yeah,
with us. Like I got this mole on the back of my neck, right?
yeah.
And
I didn't even know about that.
yeah, I used to be so self-conscious about this because so many people used to point it out, and I'd be like, so it made me feel inferior. Like there were times where I tried to like band-aid it, try to match
I
my
bet you
skin.
wanted to get it off somehow. I bet you
Yeah,
probably tried to get it off.
I knew, like, I asked my parents. I was like, how do I get this off and whatnot. And then they were saying like, yeah, you got to be older when you do it. I'm like, dang, I really can't wait till I'm 18 or whatever, dude. I can get this off. I'll be hot then. It's like, but
Yeah,
it's just so interesting. Like when somebody points out something like that, or
yeah,
one thing I'll take is like the fat acceptance, right? Just because this is what it's leading me to. When you point out to a fat person that's, this body positivity movement, that there is something wrong, that there's something
yeah.
potentially
Yep.
dangerous with
I
that
think that's the worst one.
lifestyle, they go off and either you're xenophobic, you're evil, you're supremacist or whatever. It's like, bro, no. It's like there's this trigger, and there's this emotional trigger that got you because deep down there's an insecurity that you haven't faced, and it's clearly manifested somehow into this, and
Yeah,
you're it's like Teal loves to say. She says you're living in hell and you're pretending it's heaven instead of actually
yeah,
accepting it's
yeah.
hell and then going to find heaven from there. And
Yeah.
that it's
Because
like,
in the Bible, Jesus had to go to hell too.
get that.
That's literally what it's talking about. You know, people take the Bible literally. There's so many things. Jesus went to hell. That's all it's talking about. He went into his lower self to get to his higher self.
Oh yeah, I swear the Bible. This is one thing I will say that I absolutely adore about the Christianity and whatnot is like how is how much the Bible just pertains to so much of what I know, in a sense. Like the wisdom that I
Yeah.
have, the Bible's a wise fucking book,
Like if you take
man.
it literally, nah. But
Yeah,
if you see all the symbolism, it's like, oh shit, there. That's why it's so good.
it's a
You know.
metaphorical beauty.
Yeah. I mean, look. I'm gonna show you something fucked up. So you know how Christians say, oh, we look to the sun. You know, like the sun, Jesus,
Yeah,
and they always have their hands up. The Bible means, and holy means Helios. Helios means the sun. It literally, and Bible means book. It literally means the sun book. So you know how when you're like, when someone asks you a question, you're like, you gotta kind of think, look up, and go, what that is you're like, you're saying and you're looking up to the sun to get that stimulation to the pineal gland.
Yeah.
And you're saying home to get that frequency to get in there.
But
and then it comes out.
That's actually really interesting. He's got. Oh man, there was. Hold on, I'm gonna end this real quick, but go ahead and request to join when I start it up again.
Yeah, I gotta go home soon, so I'll call you there.
All right. Hold on. So I see Chastity. Charity. I don't know if you're still here or not, but I see what you're saying. Danny's gonna call me back in a bit, but let me see something. Teachers focus on grooming or implanting, basically getting students ready for conformity. That's where the disconnect begins. Oh, yes, I'm waiting until Denny gets back because we're going to talk about this. This is fucking huge. I hope you're still here. If they pulled students from students, that's where the innovation would begin. Yes, I will say this to kick this off. I believe one of the sincere reasons we care about other people's opinions so much is because we spend so much of our lives doing what we're told to do. And when other people have an opinion of what we should do, we can't help but almost instinctively have to do that. Some students respond to one style of learning and others to others. Some need conformity, others not. Yeah, like Mike said, it really is what works for you. David Goggins. I don't know if you guys know this guy. Navy SEAL. Badass. I fucking love this dude. He actually brings up like he had this learning disability in school, and it's like Mike was saying, he didn't make a fucking excuse about it later in life. He said when it was time to fucking learn so he could get his diver's license and whatnot, he started experimenting. Okay, what do I suck at learning and what am I good at learning? And then he found out writing the pages over and over and over and over again was what you fucking was what you do. Is how you figure it out. Is how we learn. And it's a big thing, man. Finding what your is experience is finding how you learn best. For me, visuals. I'm a visual fucking guy. There's a reason I'm a director. All right, Denny, thanks you for the update. There's a reason I'm a visual guy, dude. Like I mean, there's a reason I'm a director. There's a reason I do filmmaking. I got these, man. I am so visual. It's crazy. So that's just kind of how I experiment with myself. And that's how I've learned to learn. I've figured out my method. And that's big. Finding out what your learning method is. Um, but that's a big thing, man. That conformity, it's a dangerous thing. Because it can tend to strip kids of the individuality we have. When we start getting these young kids to try and all be the same in a sense, right? And I feel I don't want to blame social norms because social norms just kind of form. Uh, I'm not going to say society controls the social norms. Social norms form on their own, I feel, for the most part. Um, but yeah, man, that disconnect. I want to disconnect to really themselves, because when you go to conformity, you're concerned with keeping up with what's around you. I feel the biggest thing that needs to start being taught in schools. It's good. We need the math, we need the English and whatnot, for the elementary elements and whatnot. But I feel the biggest thing we need to start emphasizing with kids: who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Or who are you going to be? Because I believe that and maybe Danny's going to have probably an interesting point on this because I know he's very spiritually oriented. It's really good having him on tonight, man. This is almost like a new podcast. But he was saying, like, I mean, I really believe like we need to start getting real with who we are, and I really am a big believer that we create who we are, man. We make who we are. I'll tell you this, man. If y'all would have seen me at 13, 12 years old, I wasn't this motivated motherfucker. I wasn't who I am today, bro. I would not be who I am today. Uh you know, my like who I am today is a result of what I've created out of myself and what I've gone after and faced in my life. You know, looks so smooth, like the 30 frames per second. So so I'm really a big believer. We create our own identities. Who I was since 12th grade. I mean, who I was when I was 12 years old, 13 years old, was a kid that was big on conformity. That was a major goody two shoes rule follower. Did what people wanted me to do. Followed what people was a follower. I wasn't no fucking leader. I did what people expected me. I cared about opinions of other people majorly. I still do, but no, it doesn't inhibit me like it did back then. Like you know how ashamed I would have been to admit that I loved country music if a bunch of people around me said that they don't like country music. I would have been terrified of saying that because it would have made me unaccepted. Now I blast country music coming into a fucking parking lot, you know, because I'm embracing of who I am. Now, what does this really fucking lead to? It leads to the fact that I am getting out of this social idea that I've got to be like anybody other than me, other than the person I want to be, right? Back to that stoicism and emotion point that I was bringing up earlier. Maybe stoicism is what I wanted, right? Let's just say whether I chose stoicism or sensitivity, it doesn't really, it just comes down to this. What do I feel is most resourceful for me? If I want to become stoic, I can. I have that ability. I already know I do. I've done it before. I didn't like it. So that's why I chose with that's why I stuck with sensitivity. And I just didn't want to go back. I don't want to go back. It's very difficult for me to go back. You know? It's a result of me creating who I am, growing as a person. So very big stuff there. Um Where's my water at? I don't have a water. I'm gonna go get a water in a bit. But yeah, as far as kids, man, look, yeah, it's this the school systems really need to start emphasizing on self identity. Who are we? Who are we, and who are we going to become? You know, who are the people that we're going to be growing into? Who do we develop into? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get a water real fast though. I'm gonna be right back. Oh, cabs! Oh, chimichangas, motherfucker, I gotta get it. La da 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 da. Chimichanga. Watch that go viral. It's a weird video. I'm an overthinker. I can't stand it. I'm constantly doing internal dialogue myself. I hope I don't sound schizophrenic. Charity, I think I'm schizophrenic sometimes. Sweetheart, you're okay. Um, Real talk though. Uh, Overthinking. Kentwood, no, this is Aquafina. I got that Aquafina. Yeah. No, you're look. I mean, when we're overthinkers, right? I'm very overthinking oriented. There are days in the morning where my mind is just spinning on topics. I attempt to think of the deepest question on a daily basis. It hurts. Oh man, I I would be very interested to try that. That's odd. That's actually pretty interesting. Let's see if you can. Ghost Hayes NF day number. I have no idea. But yeah, no, I'm a very big overthinker myself, man. So I totally get it. And a lot of overthinking comes with an overstimulation of the mind. I find this. And I'd put it. Think about this. When's the last time you were overthinking after you ran a marathon or something? Or I don't know if you work out, but if say I'll tell you this, you go through one of my workouts, you ain't gonna be overthinking then. You ain't gonna be thinking about a lot of that you ain't gonna be thinking about too much. I never overthink. It takes me 3 seconds to make a decision. That's actually very impressive. I don't have that ability impressively well. I gotta be honest. I'm pretty overthinking oriented. What is the meaning of asking questions? Not deep enough. That's actually kind of interesting. I want to answer that. But yeah, no, I literally will walk around the street talking to myself. You know, uh, I'm very self talk oriented. It's big for me. It's just what I do. Um, but yeah, no, it's not too. I don't. Oh, he's back. Hydration is occurring. Yo. Ah,
I just got back from the gym. Tired.
got that lifting in.
Yep. This girl, this real spiritual girl commented on one of my Instagram posts. And it was just like a posing picture. She was like, "Do yoga, not bodybuilding." And then she DM'd me about it, and she was talking about like she just went into it like you're gonna be an old man one day, so what you're doing now doesn't matter.
Right now we're discussing a bit about overthinking. And I was kind of discussing how like overthinking is usually when there's oh, she just updated Bill on the question. She says I think mine stems from insecurities, curiosity, and introversion. Yeah, I would say insecurities are definitely a big factor in overthinking big time. I can agree with that. Um, I think where overthinking tends to come from though is that overstimulation of the mind, though. You know,
Gotta bring the attention back
to the
to
ground.
everything that's
Yeah.
going on in yourself. I used to be the big I still catch myself overthinking, but I catch myself. That's the difference. That's what I was talking about is attention. You gotta know when you're overthinking, then you'll stop. If you just let those thoughts run, you'll go on to the next. You're making up realities that won't happen unless you want them to.
Yeah. It's interesting that you were Charity, that you were talking about that internal dialogue with yourself. Because I mean, like I said, I talk to myself a lot. I mean, that's how I'm able to like naturally just like speak on this because it's almost like the same thing as if I'm just talking to myself. I'm just like blabbing on. Uh, well, yeah, like you said, whenever you catch yourself overthinking, dude, like you just gotta ground yourself, get yourself to a space where you can become tranquil, become still. And one of the best ways to do that is doing something that will get this to turn off in a sense. Well, not
there's so many things
to get it to calm down. I mean, personally, as I've always loved to, physically demanding shit. That's really where it goes. Anything that'll physically tax me.
Yeah, it's the same thing as sexual transmutation.
Oh, that's such an interesting topic. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The same exact thing. You got to go do something. It's what is overthinking is just energy out of whack. You don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. Because it's just it's attached to nothing. It's just free floating into space.
You gotta direct that energy somewhere.
What games do you play at Bowmueller? I don't play any games at all. I mean, the only game I play with myself is how long can I stay without masturbating. Still going strong since July 2nd, 2018. I will say this though, because I think this would bring up some interesting conversation. About a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago, it was the first time I watched porn in a long time, right? And I remember because like, dude, I remember because like it was so the day prior there was this coworker, right? And I couldn't remember whether it was like me struggling to start the conversation with her or whether I was trying to get the number. But something was off, right? And I was frustrated with myself about it. I remember I woke up that day and I just didn't get out of bed. And I was scrolling through some posts and then I ran into Conor McGregor's retirement post. And I looked under and it was just like this Instagram model, just this hot Instagram model. And I was like, she commented, do whatever makes you happy, champ. Clicked on it. I was like, holy shit, I know this model. I've seen it. And then slowly but surely, like she had this link who was like, hey, come see me play or whatnot and stuff. And then I was like, and then she's like, you gotta pay though. I'm like, you think I'm about to pay to see this shit? Motherfuckers got this shit online for free. Where's it at? And then I started surfing. Dude, I was on it for like, I want to say at least a good hour 30, just like watching videos. Like it sucked me in like a vortex. And two things that I noticed after. One, at the moment I stopped watching and I had to go get up and pee, my brain felt like scrambled egg.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean because it's like, all right, so this is the way you got to think of it. It's like a tunnel, right? You got this dopamine rushing through this tunnel. Eventually, it's gonna get clogged, especially if you're doing that shit for an hour. It's gonna get clogged. You're gonna fall so deep into it, and you're not gonna know what the fuck you're doing until you stop.
Yeah.
And then when you stop, you come back, you're like, oh shit,
dude. It was so like oh, it felt like it melted in my head and just like that strong solid brain didn't feel sharp. It felt it's gone. The second thing I noticed, pressure all in that pelvic floor. Like I could feel it. Like it was like I was like, do I have blue balls? I like started like trying to like feel to see if it would hurt. It wasn't there, but like it was on the verge of it. And I knew if I kept going, it was gonna be bad. So I was like, all right.
Did your voice change? That's what happens to me when I get off that shit.
I actually didn't notice
that. Naturally goes back to my high voice.
That's actually pretty. I didn't notice that. You know what was really funny though, and this happens anytime that I have something like this happen. The next few days, it was actually really hard not to go back because there was that part of my mind that was being like, "Hey, I mean, you already fucked up. What's a few more days before you hop back on?" But that was like, "Nah, bitch, you ain't getting me this time. Yeah. You got me one day, and that's it."
It's more of an instinctual thought. Like you don't think that thought too much. It's more of like that. It's more of a feeling. You want to go back to that
yeah. Feeling. Mike V just said here, he's like that's the chaser effect. It's big. They use this a lot in the red pill community. They talk about yeah, where you're like wanting to go after that pleasurable high after you hit it. So that's
exactly what it is. Like sex is one of the most powerful things in the universe. That's my problem with sex. Because that's my problem. Like I'm away from porn, I'm away from masturbation, but sex. The worst part about that is afterwards you got to like your life either gets better or worse.
Sex is a very interesting one for me. Oh, that was really good actually. Sex is an interesting one for me because I never pull anyone. I never really pull anyone to actually get to that point with. Hold on. I'm gonna get my charger.
For me, it's always the first date, man.
Let me pull this off.
Fighting this skunk. It's wild out here.
It's real out in Canada, man.
Coyotes, street survivors. I remember one time so I didn't feed them because I was away, and I came back and they were the same size, and there were all these chickens. They're like they were hunting wild chickens, and they were stealing from like people's yards because people hunt a lot here.
Yeah.
Anyways, hydration. That's a huge one, man.
It's cold water, though.
I catch myself so much, like, just wanting to drink something after I eat. And that's, like, one of the worst things to do, especially acidic.
Yeah.
Like, or acidic things like juice. Juice is the worst thing to drink after you eat.
Oh, I actually never knew that. I don't do it because water's all I ever drink, but...
Like, I have a bottle of Coke in the fridge. And that's been in there for, like, 2 weeks. I'm only halfway done. And when I do pour some, I only pour, like, that much because I only drink it.
Yeah, man, I'm like at work because I keep a bottle on the back. Because like after my first couple days there, I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna survive 6-hour shifts without fucking water. Dude, fuck this. So I started sneaking waters in the back. I'm like holding them. I got like a little arsenal. I'm going back there. Go back to table. Yeah, no, that hydration.
I used to work in Moto sneak games to work because like the work I was doing was back. I was a rodman. You know what that is?
Or wait, what?
It's like or an iron worker. People who deal with rebar.
I don't think I've heard of
rebar is stuff. If you ever go to you see bars sticking out of concrete, you laid it. It's what keeps the concrete together.
Yeah.
That was a shit job. I mean, it paid really good, but that was a shit job. So every day at lunch, I'd go and hammer a beer back, drink my water, get back to work. What were we talking about before?
Sex, and we actually just got a comment. She said, Charity. She said, as a woman, I never really struggled with the temptation of sex. Whenever I have sex with a man, it's solely based off of wanting to make a connection stronger and because I trust that person. Sex is very vulnerable to me. Being naked is vulnerable in itself or could be liberating, just depends on the person.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. That's a really good way to look at it. Like sex is a problem for me. Like I could go without it. But the temptation.
Yeah.
like once you don't have porn and masturbation, it totally changes sex.
Yeah, especially when it's with somebody that actually means like that you have that emotional bond with. You know?
Yeah.
I haven't had sex with anybody that like we both were emotionally bonded, but I've had sex with girls that. Well, I mean, I've had sexual interactions with girls where it was just like I just need to bust.
Yeah.
And I've had those where I was just emotionally invested with that person.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those situations where the emotion completely changes the dynamic. Cause like
go ahead.
But like one of the last interactions I had, like and it was very interesting to me the way that my body responded to this because I didn't entirely expect this, but I kind of sort of saw this coming in a sense where after it was kind of all done and all, it was like, wow, like it was cool. I got we had our fun, and it was just like it was nowhere as fulfilling or close. Like I didn't really I didn't really care about this person to the sense where it was like I wanted to bond with this person out of sex. This is purely just like I need to get some. Uh, and after leaving, I remember, like, after I was done, I remember we just, like, laid there for a while. We, like, talked a little bit and whatnot. She really just, like, talked to me the whole time. I just kinda, like, chilled. But, like, I remember after leaving, it I could feel, like, that, that sexual energy actually, like, was gone. Like, there was, when I was with the person that I was emotionally invested with, whenever I busted nuts, I didn't feel as drained. I actually felt
Yeah, but
somewhat more
that's the
empowered.
thing, dude.
Like,
That's what I wanted to get to. Like,
yeah,
once you're done having sex, you are supposed to feel energized. You're supposed to feel good. You're like, oh yes,
yeah,
we could do that again in 10 minutes. The worst is when you have sex with someone and you just feel drained after that. Your body's tired, your mind's tired.
yeah,
You just want to go to sleep. That's how you know that you just got your energy drained the fuck out. That person's most likely either gonna feel good or bad. Especially with me, like I have really good energy. If I put that in a girl, not only is she gonna feel it, it's gonna get taken away from me.
yeah.
Especially if it's the wrong girl.
And that's one of the scary things too. Like, is like you were saying, that they're gonna feel that shit and they get a good taste of that, man. They might want to bring your ass back for some more, just to keep
Yep.
taking it from you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Charity was just saying, sex is vulnerable, man. Like, you know, I I'm I was terrified for a long time of running into another woman that was like, I remember, like, I I remember going into, like, the next potential sexual interactions. I was just thinking to myself, like, dude, like, I don't want to give up my seed to another woman because she's just gonna take it for herself, and I'm just gonna be like losing myself to this and whatnot. And it was like, it was very scary for me to think about allowing myself allowing myself to be given sexually to another person, if in that sense, you know?
Fucking sacred act. You're taking your clothes off and you're putting your fucking. It's a sacred fucking act. Like there's nothing like that in the world. No one takes your clothes off. Like that's something to think about.
Yeah. That and
Especially a lot most people are insecure about their bodies too. So for someone to take their clothes off for you, that's crazy.
oh yeah, very deep. Okay, wait, Charity, just do you mind if I ask you guys a personal question? I just want a guy's perspective. Go right ahead. Ask the question.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
I'm interested to see what she's got. Yeah.
Because the way the world is right now, it's gonna be deep. I'm preparing myself for the question. It's like females want to know so much. That, like,
Like the
how
suspense.
old are you, Bo?
Me?
I'm 19.
19.
Yeah.
You're gonna be 20 in July, I think, huh?
Yeah.
I got that. It's like this slow silence just building to it.
And we're both just gonna be stumped for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. But no, that's that's actually something I'm probably gonna start looking for, like, in my next future relationships going on into it though. It's like, oh, 11:11 on the clock right in front of me. Whoa. Oh yes.
Dude, you should see my
Synchronicity.
synchronicities. They're crazy. They're crazy. All right, so this will be. It'll have my numbers. I have my clock and military time on my phone. And then what it'll usually do is the numbers will add up to the date or the percent on my phone, like how much battery I have left. Like it's crazy. Like
Ew.
there was one. All right, so I had the time was 2:22 in the morning.
Yeah.
The fucking I had 6% left. This was April 6th.
Ew, that's scary.
Like I've had so many.
That's crazy though that you actually
there was one
noticed
week
it that
where I
deep
saw
though.
666 every single day.
Oh,
And
I get
that's not even a bad
synchronicities
number, by the
a
way.
lot. Oh yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Then that was one thing I noticed when I was like thinking, what's the six six
Dude,
six
I was scared. I thought I
synchronicity?
was gonna die.
Yeah, no, I knew it was like I knew a lot of people just kind of blew it out of proportion, given with the Lucifer number and all. I was like, nah, the spiritual sense, this probably is something. Just it's not that deep. Let's just. But yeah, no, I at least get like 2, 3 synchronicities every day.
Mm.
All right, sweet. All right.
One of the most powerful things. My subconscious mind is fucking crazy. So yesterday, me and my buddy were going to the gym. We were on the highway, and I was like, he mentioned something like, "Oh, what if we just got stopped by a cop right now?" I was like, "You're gonna see a cop. Watch, you're gonna see a cop. Next car, a white car. It was a fucking cop." And then once we got to town, 5 minutes later, I was like, you remember Grandma used to have a green Dodge Caravan?" And then out of the corner, a green Dodge Caravan, the same fucking year, comes out the corner, and we're both just like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "I swear
Dang.
I didn't see that car. I swear to God." Like, my subconscious mind is fucking crazy. Oh, I was watching the Infinite Waters video yesterday. This is funny. He was like, "Right now, the cat down the road is probably naked. Now it's sitting there butt ass naked."
Oh man. All right, the question came up. Oh, that was great. All right, so Charity says, "Well, I went on a date Monday, and me and this guy were hitting it off pretty well. Everything was good. We finally went to his place, and basically, I guess he got in the mood, was being very touchy, but I kept telling him to like calm down, you know, I wanted to take things slow. Then he agreed and said he'll stop. We ended the night with a kiss, he told me he really liked me and that he'll call me, but I haven't heard from him again. I'm just confused. This was this Monday? Um Oh man. All right. Well, here's
All right, there's some possibilities here.
yeah.
First, he could be an alpha. He could just want sex from you because he knows female nature, and he knows that he's probably not going to be with you. So you not falling on the first date, he might go on the second. That's when they usually try as a second. Most alphas at the third, they're gone. If you don't give it to them on the third, they're gone.
Yeah.
So with this, I don't know. All right, so what he's probably gonna do, he's probably trying to build a traction with you.
He's probably gonna hit her up next Monday or
You're thinking
something.
about him. He just ignored you because you didn't give him sex.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about him. That's a form of manipulation. He might come back, and if he does, just know that he's doing that. What he did was for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in a sense, he could be a bait too, because I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's not attractive enough. There's so many things that come into play.
Yeah, because kind of, I mean, because she brings up how, calm down, take things slow. Uh, and, she points out that he agrees. So, the first thing that kind of comes to me is that this is a guy who respects boundaries. You know, he was super, yeah, well, he was super aggressive. I'm not attracted to that, especially when I first meet you. Super aggressive, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
um, so,
Maybe he's just trying to play the game right. I don't know.
because
Need more info.
they ended the night with a kiss. He said he really liked her and that he'll call her. I mean, because what kind of comes to mind is this, put me in this position, right?
He kissed you. Okay, go ahead.
And if I was Monday night, I was hitting it off with a girl, right? I start touching on her. Yeah. And then she's like, no, 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 calm down. Now, me being as sexually insecure as I can be, the first thing that would come to mind is, oh, she doesn't think I'm good enough. But I don't think that was the case with this guy. Maybe he's potentially thinking that. Yeah, there's a lot of possibility, man. because it's just like this is clearly.
Let's put ourselves in this situation. So what would you do if that happened? You got to kiss. I don't kiss girls. I don't kiss girls.
Really? If I kiss, yeah.
I mean, if they're really pushing, yeah, I'll kiss. But usually it's at the neck.
Shit,
So
I'm
they
usually
kissed you.
that's usually how it started off. um, yeah, because if it was me, man, and I started touching on her, I started touching on this woman, and I was getting it, and then she was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 calm down. I'm not just not quite ready to take it that fast yet." I in the moment, I'd probably think like, I'm like, yeah, all right, like I got you. We don't want to rush things. Take it a little calm. But then when I got home, and maybe even a little in the moment, there might have been that like, yo, she doesn't think you're it. And that might have factored into why he brought up that he really liked her, just to let her know, like, hey, like, um, maybe he's like kind of bringing that into the picture just to like, I guess, a sort of like some sort of reassurance in a sense. Maybe not completely sure on that. The end of the night was a little.
I think he's just a mixed guy, honestly, because obviously, did he say he liked her?
Yeah, no, he told her.
Okay.
He really liked
so
he really liked her, and that he'll call her.
Liked her. That's validation.
Yeah,
So,
and he said that he was gonna call her, but he hasn't hit her back since then. He's no response since that night.
All right, so this is what she has to do. All right, so there's 3 types of guys. There's the blue pill, the purple pill, and the red pill. Blue pills are classic beta male. Like you come inside, like he comes inside to his girlfriend's house or something, and let's say she's got some white stuff on her mouth. She says that's, I just ate a mayonnaise sandwich. He's gonna be so naive that, all right, cool, and he's just gonna keep going throughout his day. When that could have been, some that old morning glory. So the purple pill guy now, the purple pill guy knows female nature, but he likes relationships. He's not ready to just go on fucking girls. He likes those relationships. That's you. I love relationships, okay? But for now, I just don't choose to be in them because I still have to work on myself.
Yeah.
But unless that girl's like real, like she knows about working on herself and all that, then I'll get into that and I'll be like, okay, let's do it together for a little bit, see what happens, and if we do part our ways, at least we did good shit. So then there's the red pill guy. Now the red pill guy knows female nature, but he doesn't give a shit. So I don't think this guy's a red pill guy because not only did he validate you, he kissed you and he said he liked you. That's validation. So I think we could rule that out the way.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a straight asshole. I mean, maybe he just doesn't know in a sense what he's doing. Because if he's coming at you strong like that, and then he pulls back.
You know what I think it is? He
doesn't really know what he's doing.
He probably tried to pull the red pill, but naturally, he's probably one of others. That's exactly what I think it is. He was trying to pull that red pill. He was coming just like this, right? He's thinking.
He's trying to play that high interest male.
Yeah, but naturally, that's just not who he is. And honestly, it's how. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Keys. You're right.
So I like relationships, right? But I choose right now to be red pill guy because I know female nature. Right now, I'm 19. I don't have that much time for relationships. There's so many things that I gotta do. I can't be in a FaceTime call with a girl for fucking 3 hours a day. I can't be. So I gotta be a red pill guy. But when time comes, I'll go back to purple pill.
Yeah. Overall,
guy, he just doesn't really know.
This is what I think you should do.
All 3,
baby. This is what I think you should do as approaching this. Guy hasn't hit you back. I would say this. Give it a little bit of time. See if he hits you back for another. She says, dang, you're right. Him telling me that he liked me could have been a way of me putting my guard down. That way I wouldn't be seen as a hookup. It could be, it could not be. Um, Honestly, this is what I would do as far as this guy. Because you go almost a week. I mean, I really feel like what with the super aggressive come on, and then now pulling back like that, because that's something that the alpha male, like you were saying, the alpha male's gonna try and delay that contact as a way of like sparking interest. So that's what I feel like is going on. He's
Yeah.
being that high interest male for you. Because
Yeah.
I really do
There's
think
so many guys
he
that
really
act
does
like
like you.
interest.
He clearly does. He's confused on how to approach it though, because I just don't think he's completely comfortable in his own shoes yet with
Yeah.
a woman.
Just think about it like this. He's a novice fisherman. He's casting out there. He knows how to catch a fish. He knows how to set the hook, but he might not be that good at fighting.
Yeah.
So all right. So this is what he did. He drew back. What he's gonna wait for you to do is come back.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's probably gonna he's gonna come back and hit you up again. But if he totally flakes on you, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I would say this, man. Give give it another date and instinctively see how you vibe with that guy. Because that's really the big thing I want you to pay attention to more than anything. How are you vibing with this person when you are around him? Are you feeling in that safe space with him? Granted, you've only met him a couple times, so I get that. But like, let it pay attention. How is the reciprocation of the energies? How is the exchange of energies going between you guys? How does it feel when y'all are together? That's really like your big indication. Uh, because this just may be a person, in my opinion, that has a little difficulty being 100% authentic with you because he probably feels that his authenticity might not be enough for you yet. And that tends to end up in that bait and switch. I know because that's shit that I've done in the past. Um, and it's not that they do it intentionally to switch on you. It's just that they probably don't believe like I said, he probably just doesn't think that he doesn't believe that who he is.
Problem. He's still figuring shit out. He's not trying to be what he actually is. That's the thing with me is I'm authentic right off the bat. I don't try to test a girl. I don't do this and that. I just see how she is. And if I like her, I like her. If I don't,
vibe is big time. I'm all on that. So yeah, that's what I would do, man. Let this guy see if this guy comes back, or whatever inclination comes.
First of all, he said he's gonna come back, so you wait. You don't go to him.
Yeah, let's see what happens. See how the vibe goes, and then if that second day happens, see how you feel with it. See how you feel with this guy. Does the conversation y'all talking till 5 a.m. in the morning, or is it just another date where he's trying to get inside, and then what's gonna happen? See how it goes down, and yeah, just be aware of the dynamic, man. That's what's gonna let you know whether this shit's gonna work or not.
Don't worry too much about finding out like what kind of guy he is. Just
whether he's red, purple, blue. Just
you'll eventually find out what kind of guy he is, one way or another. Because females are smart.
All right, Mike V, man, you have a good night. Much appreciated for you to come out tonight. But yeah, no, man, like, fuck, I just lost it. Fuck, I just had it there. It was something about what you were saying about, oh yeah, that's right. This, you know what? Actually, we'll save that for another stream. I was gonna say something else, but I think that'll be a better time after the live, after that second date potentially goes down, because then that'll be the perfect time for me to lay that on you.
Yep. All right. Yep. Good night, bro.
All right, man.
I don't even know how to exit out this thing. There we go. See ya.
All right. Well, is there any more questions y'all got for me tonight, or? 'Cause I've been talking for a lot, man. This is ridiculous. This is good. Um, fuck. I'm trying to think. Yeah, man. I feel like me and Denny exchanged game tonight, man. As far as that sex conversation, that's probably something we're gonna start talking a lot on because that's just such an important topic overall. So, but since everybody just left, I'm gonna say good night to everybody. I really appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Much appreciated. It was really good having y'all come out and talk. A really good shout out to King Denny Henny. Really awesome having him come out tonight. Just exchanged awesome conversation. And hopefully you guys have a wonderful night, man. All right. Talk to y'all next time. I will see y'all again on Monday. Let's get it. How do I end this? Right here. And end.